You sit down to eat, and there they are. Two eyes locked on your fork, following every single bite from the plate to your mouth. Most people call it begging and feel a little guilty. But that stare is not really about your food. It comes from something much older, and the last reason is a piece of science that will genuinely surprise you. Here is what your dog is actually doing when they watch you eat. This is the channel where we decode what your dog is really thinking, using science instead of guesses. 5 reasons behind the stare, and at the end, exactly what to do about it without feeling like the bad guy. The first reason is instinct, and it is thousands of years old. Dogs descend from opportunistic scavengers. The animals that survived were not the ones that wandered off looking for their own food. They were the ones that stayed close to the source and paid attention. For an early dog living beside humans, the person holding food was the most important thing in the environment. Watching them closely was not rude. It was a survival strategy that worked for generation after generation. So when your dog locks onto your plate, that is not bad manners. That is an instinct that kept their ancestors alive, still running at full strength in your kitchen. The second reason is the one owners create themselves, usually without noticing. Think back. Somewhere in your history together, a crumb hit the floor, or a piece of chicken got handed over because the staring was too much. It probably happened once, maybe twice. That is all it takes. In behavior science, a reward that comes sometimes, but not always, is the strongest kind there is. It is the same principle that makes slot machines work. If food appears one time in 50, the staring never stops, because the next bite might be the one, and it does not have to be you. A guest who slipped them something at Christmas, a child who drops food under the table every day, one generous relative. Your dog does not separate people the way you do. They just learn that sitting near humans who are eating sometimes pays. Your dog is not being stubborn. They are playing odds that have paid out before. The third reason is simple, and we tend to forget it. Your food genuinely smells incredible. A dog's sense of smell is tens of thousands of times more sensitive than ours. Heat makes it worse because warm food releases far more scent molecules than cold food. So while you smell dinner, your dog is getting a detailed breakdown of every ingredient on that plate, in high definition, from across the room. Their own kibble, sitting in a bowl all day, cannot compete with that. From where they are sitting, ignoring your plate would be the strange choice. The fourth reason has nothing to do with the food at all. They are reading you. Dogs watch human faces more closely than almost any other animal. They track where we look, what our hands do, and what our expression is doing, because that is how they predict what happens next. Mealtime is one of the few moments when you sit still, in one place, doing something interesting with your hands. For a dog, that is prime observation time. Some of that stare is not want, it is study. There is also something happening between you that goes deeper than the plate. When a dog and their person hold eye contact, both of them release oxytocin, the same bonding hormone involved between a parent and a baby. Looking at you is not neutral for your dog. It feels good. So they are learning your patterns, the same way they learn the sound of your keys, and getting a small hit of connection while they do it. And the fifth reason is the one most people have never heard, and it changes how the whole thing looks. Around the eyes, dogs have a small muscle that lets them raise their inner eyebrows. It makes their eyes look bigger, softer, more infant-like. You know the exact expression. Everyone calls it puppy dog eyes. Here is the part that matters. Wolves do not have that muscle developed the same way. It appears to have evolved in dogs specifically during the thousands of years they spent living beside us, because the dogs that could make that face got more attention, more care, and more food from humans. That look was not learned at your dinner table. It was built by evolution over tens of thousands of years for one purpose: to reach you. So when your dog gives you that face across the table, they are using a communication tool that our two species developed together. It works because it was designed to work. So what do you actually do about it? First, decide the rule and never bend it. Feeding from the table, even once a month, keeps the whole behavior alive because of that slot machine effect. It is kinder to be boringly consistent than occasionally generous. Give your dog a job during your meals instead. A bed or a mat a few steps away, with a chew or a stuffed toy that only appears at dinner time. Feed them their own meal just before you sit down so they start out full instead of hopeful. And reward the behavior you actually want. Most people only give attention when the dog is staring, whining or pawing at them. Try the opposite. When your dog settles quietly on their mat, that is the moment to go over and tell them they are good. Dogs repeat whatever gets noticed, so make sure calm is the thing that gets noticed. Expect it to get slightly worse before it gets better. When a behavior that used to work suddenly stops working, animals try harder for a while. Push through that week without giving in, and the staring fades on its own. And one safety note, do not solve the stare by sharing your plate. Onion, garlic, grapes, raisins, chocolate, and anything with the sweetener xylitol are genuinely dangerous for dogs, and they turn up in ordinary human meals all the time. The stare is not your dog being greedy. It is instinct, habit, a nose that works better than yours, and a face that evolved to talk to you. You do not have to give in to it, but it is worth knowing what is behind those eyes. If your dog does this, share this with someone whose dinner is being supervised right now, and tell me in the comments what your dog does to try to get a bite. I will see you in the next one.